Isn't it ironic that while America is ending its forever wars in Afghanistan, the latest in 2021, under your leadership, when you withdrew troops from Kabul, and that you're committing Kenya to another foreign wars 12,000 kilometers away from Nairobi? I mean, why the discrepancy? Why the dichotomy? While you're ending your forever wars, overseas wars, yet you're committing Kenya to Haiti.
So, what's up, guys? Good afternoon from the motherland, Kenya. Yes. Now I want us to talk about hypocrisy. Yes. African leaders are full of this BS of hypocrisy.
Mr. President, thank you. One question, and this is on Haiti. President Biden, Kenya is rather doing the heavy lifting in a turbulent region, Somalia, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Washington, as you have mentioned, has committed millions of dollars for the cause in Haiti.
So I just want to ask you a question. What kind of relationship do you think exists between a lion and a sheep? What kind of relationship does exist between a mosquito and a human being? Think of it twice. Okay. Now that you've thought of it, the kind of relationship that exists between these two people is a parasitic relationship. It's not a mutually beneficial relationship. Same like the relationship that exists between African countries and the West. The reason why I'm saying this is because the president of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, used a lot of money just to fund his trip to the USA. You know how much the USA has caused damage in many African countries. And now President Ruto is using a lot of money pretending to make ties with the US. One time he says, let's have solidarity, let's depend on ourselves. Another time he's begging the West for support. I don't know what the president really thinks of, but I want you to think for yourself. I want us to watch this video over here. Watch it, and then by the end, I'll give you my thoughts where we will have a deep critical analysis.
Isn't it ironic that while America is ending its forever wars in Afghanistan, the latest in 2021, under your leadership,
as we talk, there are 3,000 military officers in the North Rift, 2,000 police officers in the North Rift. We have renovated the first 15 schools and completed. We have reopened 20 schools already that were closed in the North Rift, and that exercise is ongoing. We have made tremendous progress in making sure that we create security at home, but that does not take away our responsibility. Even as we were deployed.
Hypocrisy is tearing down the very fabrics that built the Pan-African spirit of Africanism. And African leaders, majority of them are hypocrites. You understand? Now, why would we call an African leader a hypocrite? What are the parameters for saying that an African leader is a hypocrite? There are specific parameters we can use to say this. And one of these parameters is that these African leaders would take wine and preach water. Or maybe they would take water and preach wine. Their words don't match their behaviors and their activities. The reason why I'm saying this is because President Ruto took a very expensive flight funded by the hard-earned money of taxpayers like me and maybe you who is watching. He funded this jet. It was around 200 million Kenya shillings. That was the budget of his trip to go and meet Joe Biden. Yes, so many Africans are angry about this. They are really not happy. Kenyans are striking and they're asking themselves, why would the president take such an expensive trip all the way to USA just to go and meet the US president? Why would he do that? Would the US president, Joe Biden, come to Kenya like he did? You know, Africans, we are really trying to find a means of trying to avoid being in one with the colonizer. I'm not saying the US is a colonizer, but I'll give you my point. We are trying to be independent. But president like President Ruto, one time they speak this, another time they speak that. The other day he said that visa was going to be, there was going to be no visa in Kenya. He said that. Nobody asked him to say so. The next time, he is asking for visitors to pay for some fee into Kenya. Visa, the reason why we say you don't need visa is the paperwork and the money. But you see, it's still there. We still have a soft form of visa. You understand? President Ruto, even here in Kenya, he said that he will lower the cost of living. But when he came here, what did he do? The cost of living skyrocketed. It skyrocketed when he came here. And now, President Ruto, the same President Ruto, is speaking about bringing peace. And as you can see, the journalist asked him about the Haiti issue. In Kenya, we have our own problems, we have our own gangs. But the president, due to financial benefits, he decided, I'm gonna use my policemen to get some money. He took the Kenyan police and he transported them all the way to Haiti to help solve crimes over there, while Kenya was burning in flames. You know, there's this proverb, charity begins at home. And there's a good reason we say charity begins at home. I don't see the efficiency, or rather the efficacy of this proverb when we see African leaders behaving in such a way. No. This is not the right way to behave. It's such a bad. This is not why we elected them. You know, we all know how much the US has done damage to other countries around the world. We know about Iraq, we know about Afghanistan, we know about Congo, the CIA, we know about Myanmar, which is Burma, we know about Ukraine. Ukraine is not fighting Russia. NATO is the one which is fighting Russia. And NATO, its biggest point, its biggest backbone is the USA. You understand? So what follows is that the president of Kenya should first deal with the problems of Africa before taking such an expensive flight all the way to USA just to meet the US president. I don't think it really makes sense. It only makes sense to him because he's having financial benefits. You understand? But to me, I feel not yet. We are not yet there. We should first deal with the people who are suffering hunger before we take such an expensive flight just to meet Joe Biden, the president of USA. The US has done a lot of bad things. It has destabilized Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not like it was before. You know, since the USA stepped foot in Kabul, Afghanistan has never been like that before. Since the US stepped foot in Baghdad, Iraq has never been like that before. Since the US set foot on Beirut, Lebanon has never been like that before. You know, right now, the president of Kenya allowed the UN to shift all the way from New York to Kenya? Why is these things happening only when Ruto is the president? Why? It should tell us something about him. I'm just giving an open mindset. The rest I leave to you so that you can just come back, think for yourself. Maybe you might see what I don't see at the moment. But in the end, truth shall prevail. In the end, truth always, and it always prevails. Anyways, the US has never been a friend of Africa. Nah. It's a parasitic relationship. It's never been a mutual benefit. It's a parasitic one. And Africans should be much wise not to fall into this trap again. Ruto might be trying hard to bring us back to those colonial eras, and he's slowly welcoming neo-imperialism into Kenya. It's upon Africans to decide if we want neo-imperialism or we want freedom, the freedom that took bloodshed to get it. Yes, guys, I hope you enjoy and you are able to have a wider perspective on what's happening right now with the people of Kenya and the US, and what Kenyans really think of President Ruto going to the USA to meet Joe Biden. There can never be a relationship between the goat and the leopard. Yes, guys, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.